Good morning and welcome to 101010 at Poets House, the poetry library in downtown New York City. Poets House is the place for poetry, poets, and all things verse. I'm Dave Johnson, poet and playwright, and your host of 101010, where we invite you at 10 a.m. on weekdays for 10 minutes to write a new poem. And in 10 days, you'll have 10 new poems. This morning on 101010 here at Poets House, we're in the anthology section once again, and I want to share with you today the section which is really near and dear to my heart, and that's sports poems. I absolutely am a fanatic, and that's where the word comes from, of course, fan, and I am. I sometimes wonder if I can stop watching sport long enough to write a poem, and so that's where I go to. I have to write poems while I'm watching sometimes, and that's the poem that we're going to look at today, and some of the poets we're thinking about today are poets who actually write poems about these stars who they catch in the moment of doing their thing, right? But some of the books we're going to share with you today, we have Line Drive, which is a book of course, baseball poems. Full Court, which is a book of basketball poems. This one, which is a great title, edited by the poet Don Johnson, Hummers, Knucklers, and Slow Curves, contemporary baseball poems. We have another baseball haiku poems. And this one called Motion. It's all American sports poems. And I think behind me here, we even have a book called Splash, which is all poems on swimming, if you believe it. Wow, it's fantastic. I mean, we have so many wonderful books in the sports collection here at Poets House, all these sports poems. The poet I want to share with you today actually comes from this one. I'm a huge basketball fan. And this one is called Fast Break to Line Break. And this is Poets on the Art of Basketball. So in this one, you have a little bit of poetry and a little bit of essay. And so we have Diane Ackerman, who's got a little piece in here. Diane is, of course, a poet and essayist who you probably have read something by, I'm sure, at some point. She has at least 25 books that she's published, New York Times bestseller as well. But this little poem is one I've really always loved, and it is about the basketball player that played for our New York Knicks named Patrick Ewing, right? Of course, everybody remembers Patrick Ewing. He's one of the great stars all time for the Knicks. And this one is called Patrick Ewing Takes a Foul Shot. And so if you remember something about Ewing, he's a big guy, really shoots well under the basket, right? Great hook shot. Sometimes at the foul line it was on or off. You didn't never really know exactly what was going to happen when he got up there. But he developed a rhythm later in his career and really became much better at shooting foul shots. So he's really pretty good for a big guy. And this was called Patrick Ewing Takes a Foul Shot. Ewing, sweating, molding the ball with spidery hands, packing it into a snowball's chance of a goal. Rolling his shoulders through a silent earthquake, rocking from one foot to the other, sweating, bouncing. Oh, sweet honey, molding it, packing it tight. He fires, floats it up on one palm as if surfacing from the clear green Caribbean, with a shell whose roar wraps around him, whose surf breaks deep into his arena where light and time and pupils jump. Because he jumps. Diane Ackerman. Patrick Ewing takes a foul shot, right? It's a wonderful, wonderful way she gets into this poem, right? The title itself just straightforward, right? Patrick Ewing takes a foul shot. So we know right away where we are. We know the subject of the poem. We know he's at the foul line. He's about to take this shot, right? And she says he's sweating, molding the ball with spidery hands, right? You can just see his hands holding it, packing it like a snowball, right? Almost like a snowball, just packing it tighter and tighter into what she calls a snowball's chance. And we all know what that means, right? As if it may not go in. And he rolls his shoulder through a silent earthquake, rocking from one foot to the other. And if you remember Ewing, he always did that. He had this rocking motion. Diane really captures that moment, bouncing it, oh, sweet honey, molding it, packing it tight. And when their line breaks, she has him firing that shot, right? And then it floats in the air in that anticipation moment as the fan, as he's watching it, you're watching it to see what's going to happen. And she describes it as if it's surfacing from the clear green Caribbean water, right? With a shell, right? Like a shell from the ocean whose roar, right? And that roar here wrapping around him would be the fans, right? Us, the crazies, right? Whose surf breaks as if crashing into the shore, right? Deep into his arena, right? In his ear, into the arena, which is Madison Square Garden, of course, right? Where light and time and pupils jump. Our eyes all jump, right? Because he jumps. You see him taking that slight rise from the floor. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment. This is what I'm going to ask you to do today. I want you to capture, right, a sport figure today, or it could be any figure. We will expand sport too. It could be art or music as well. Why not? But I want you to capture someone that you are passionate about, right? She was really passionate about Patrick Ewing, and it really showcases in this poem and about the moment of capturing him in the essence of what he does. And I want you to try that for 10 minutes this morning. Start with who is your subject and where are they? What are they doing, right? And see if you can capture them in that moment, that isolated moment, right? It could be from any sport. Again, it could be dance. It could be from a musician maybe that you recall seeing at some point, right? Take about 10 minutes with this and see what you come up with, right? We look forward to seeing what you come up with here on 10-10-10. Okay, now we're going to write our own poem. I want you to think about who you want to write about. It could be, again, a sports star, but we expanded this. This could be a dancer or a musician, anybody that you're really passionate about. But I'm going to stay with sports this morning. Diane Ackerman wrote about Patrick Ewing, and again, you want to put them in a place, right? Your subject and in a place. This one, Patrick Ewing takes a foul shot. I am going to say La Pulga, which is, of course, you fans out there, Barcelona fans, Leo Messi, right? La Pulga in Spanish means, you fans and you speakers of Spanish, the flea. That's his nickname. La Pulga takes a free kick. All right. Okay, here we go. La Pulga takes a free kick, right? All right. Let's see what we can do. Leo lines up the goalie like a dream about to unwind. A small avalanche of slow motion streaming from his eye to the far corner of the goal post. And before you blink and miss, history in all its flea has fled, and the ball rings the back of the ever ring net. All right, here we go. So that just happens right there in the moment. We'll see what we came up. La Pulga takes a free kick, right? La Pulga, the flea, right, which we referenced to in the poem, right? We'll see how it goes. Leo lines up the goalie like a dream about to unwind. A small avalanche of slow motion streaming from his eye to the far corner of the goalpost. And before you blink and miss history in all its amazing glory, the flea has fled, and the ball rings the back of the ever-ringing net. There you go, right? Just a quick one. There you go. I want to see what you come up with. Again, choose your subject, your sports person or your musician or your dancer, and put them in a place in a moment and make that happen. And then share that poem with us at the address on the screen. As we said, there's lots of different sports poems that we've got here today. I'm going to share one more with you, and this one comes from the book called Motion, American Sports Poems. And so in this book, you have a wide variety of sports poems in this anthology. The one I'm going to read is called The Jogger on Riverside Drive, 5 a.m. by the poet Agha Shahid Ali. And Agha Shahid Ali is a winner of a Guggenheim Prize and also the Pushcart Prize, and has published at least 5 books of poetry to date. The Jogger on Riverside Drive, 5 a.m. The dark scissors of his legs cut the moons. Raw silk, highways of wind turn into lanes. His feet pushing down the shadow whose patterns he becomes, while trucks, one by one, pass him by. Headlights pouring from his face, his eyes cracked as the Hudson wraps street lamps in its rippled blue shells. The summer's thin, thin veins bursting with dawn. He, now suddenly free from the air, from himself, his heart beating far, far behind him. The Jogger on Riverside Drive, 5 a.m., Agha Shahid Ali. We'll see you next time right here, 10-10-10 at Poets House.